let's dive right into this explainer where we're going to trace the complete engineering life cycle of building an elevator controller. We are moving from pure abstract theory all the way to synthesized hardware. If you've ever wondered how engineers take a concept out of their heads and turn it into physical, working silicon, well, you are in exactly the right place. To start our journey, we need to ask a surprisingly profound question about something we do every single day. How does an elevator actually know where to go? You step in, you press a button, and you implicitly trust that this massive metal box is going to process that input and coordinate a series of complex physical movements to get you exactly where you need to be. It feels like magic, but of course, it's just really good engineering. We're going to solve this problem using something called Verilog HDL. It's a hardware description language, and it's the absolute powerhouse tool that engineers use to bridge the gap between abstract logic and actual physical circuitry. We aren't just writing software that runs on a screen today. We are writing code that will strictly dictate the physical arrangement of electronic gates. Our life cycle today follows 5 key steps. First, mapping the elevator's brain. Second, designing the state machine. Third, writing the Verilog code. Fourth, simulating the controller. And fifth, synthesizing the hardware. Step 1. The elevator's brain. Understanding the theory and logic. Before we can write a single line of code, we need to completely understand how our elevator thinks. We do this by mapping out a state diagram showing all the possible states the elevator can be in. Think of these as different circles, like S1, S2, and S3. The machine transitions between floors based entirely on specific signal conditions, mainly whether the door status is a 0 or a 1 and which direction the motor needs to go. It might look a little complicated at first glance, but when you break it down, the logic is actually incredibly elegant. It really just follows 3 simple steps to get you to your destination. Step 1, check the requested floor. Step 2, compare that request to the current floor. And step 3, decide whether to move up, move down, or stop. That is the core heartbeat of our machine. Moving on to steps 2 and 3, designing the machine and translating logic into Verilog code. Now that we have our logic clearly defined, we need to translate that state diagram into an environment a computer can understand. Raw Verilog code is what accomplishes this. Right at the top, we define the world the elevator lives in. We set up a clock signal to keep time, our inputs, like the floor you just requested, and our outputs, like the door status and the motor signals. We also establish a specific register just to keep track of the current floor. So how does the code make its actual decisions on the fly? It all comes down to basic comparison. In scenario A, if the requested floor is less than the current floor, the logic dictates the elevator must go down, updating its position by subtracting 1. In scenario B, if the requested floor is greater than the current floor, it goes up, adding 1 to its position. But what happens when you finally arrive? Well, when the requested floor exactly equals the current floor, the code triggers a very precise arrival sequence. It updates its internal memory to confirm the position, sends a 1 to the stop variable to completely halt the motors, and sends a 1 to the door variable to open the doors for the passenger. It's a perfectly choreographed sequence of 1s and 0s. Which brings us to step 4, simulating the controller and running the test bench. Writing code is really only half the battle. Before we ever spend the money to manufacture physical hardware, we absolutely must prove that our logic is flawless. There's a saying in hardware design, before building, we must break it, or at least try to. We do this using a test bench, which acts like a simulated obstacle course to rigorously test our elevator's limits before it ever carries a human being. The test bench program feeds rapid-fire artificial floor requests into our controller just to see how it handles the stress. The program initializes, resets, and then starts throwing wild commands at it. Go to floor 25, then down to floor 3, all the way up to 37, and back down to 10. We are actively trying to confuse the system to see how it reacts over time. And a simulation waveform provides the exact visual proof we need. Looking at the timeline in nanoseconds, you can actually see the signals changing state, flipping high and low in perfect response to those extreme floor requests we just programmed. It confirms that our code properly processed all those changes without a single failure. Finally, step 5, synthesizing the hardware from code to physical logic gates. Having verified our design, we reach the ultimate payoff of our entire engineering lifecycle, synthesis. Our abstract Verilog code is successfully translated into a physical architecture, generating what's called a gate-level netlist.
The intricate RTL and technology schematics show exactly this, where the boxes and wires represent actual physical electronic components and the connections between them. Using the Xilinx ISE software tool suite, look at what we've accomplished. We've verified functionality, synthesized the design into physical gates, obtained our netlist, and captured critical timing and device utilization summaries. We haven't just written a computer program, we have literally generated the exact blueprint for physical hardware that operates precisely as we intended. By systematically following this exact life cycle, mapping the theory, writing the Verilog code, simulating the logic in a test bench, and finally synthesizing the hardware, we've successfully demystified the entire process. This brilliantly illustrates how engineers bridge that seemingly magical gap between human intent and mechanical action.
So now that you know the hidden language controlling your daily commute up and down a building, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible state machines and logic gates are quietly running the world around you? From your microwave to your car's brakes, this exact same engineering life cycle is happening everywhere. Next time you mindlessly press a button, ask yourself, what invisible logic gates are you about to set in motion?